kind of set up as a little motorcycle shop because really that's my go-to. That's my comfort level because I have my 10,000 hours in building motorcycles and working on them, talking to people about them, selling them, these kind of things. That's my comfort. My go-to is motorcycles. There's nothing that you can throw at me when it comes to motorcycling that I cannot formulate, an educated opinion on what the problem could be, or what the solution could be, or what the recommendation could be on what motorcycle would suit your needs. Okay, so with that being said, what it comes down to is, I had a chance to put together what I think is I know it's a really badass motorcycle that I basically took completely apart, rebuilt it from the ground up, made it mine, made it what I would like to ride. And so it makes you think, being displaced and not being able to make my normal income that I would normally do and stuff like that was basically just thrown by the wayside. And I had to put all that on hold. I had to basically rebuild my parents' house so that they would have a place to live, and also, not to mention, yours truly. It's going well. I can't complain. And out of that comes life behind bars, because being that I say everyone should wake up every single day doing what they love to do, well, I happen to love motorcycles, and I like to podcast. I like to Robcast. I like to talk about things, get other people's opinions on it, So being that I actually had started a tree farm. Well, all that got flooded out, and, hundreds of trees are, basically just dead, gone. Well, now I've got an empty greenhouse, and actually it's not empty. The Robcast radio Yamaha Zuma scooter, the pit bike, is out there, in there by itself. But a few trees that did survive, they're outside, and they got rained on today, so that's a good thing. And the point is, zombie, with all your storytelling, the point is what? The point is that being that motorcycling always is something that is my comfort level. It's something that I go to, like, for you guys to have to take something apart on your motorcycle might be like stressful, or to have to, let's say, rewire it, rewire something, the wire's melted and you have to rewire it. Something like that for me is like exactly the opposite. It's like Zen. It's like my place. It's where I want to be. It's like I wake up in the middle of the night with these blueprints of motorcycle stuff inside my head, and the things that I can't figure out whenever I'm actually physically working on a bike or a scooter or a four-wheeler or a skateboard. Sometimes at 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, or whenever I'm on a bus somewhere. Then the solution comes to me in my brain. It's just the way that my brain works. It's mechanical. I have blueprints in there, and there's nothing anyone can do about that. But being that I do advocate that you should wake up every single day, and that you definitely have a special talent, use it to your advantage. Use that shit before you lose that shit. If you want to do a podcast about your favorite thing, or a better one about motorcycling, by all means, all you have to do is sit down and press record. And so, yeah, it's been kind of cool. Like I said, I've been out of, working on motorcycles and building them for a little while. There's always something. But getting back into getting on the road and riding every day and stuff like that, it's kind of exciting. It's something new. I do not have a motorcycle license, so I guess I'm going to have to go to this safety training course in Texas and get my motorcycle license. That's the next thing on my step. And I didn't even think about that whenever I had gotten insurance and blah, blah, blah. And then, oh, yeah. But it's all going well. The motorcycle's road ready. She's pretty nasty, too. So what got you, or what makes you want to bring other people into the motorcycling world? Whether it be, I don't know if you're a motocross, one of those hooligan riders, a motocross guy, somebody that rides a Ninja, or American-made Harley Davidson, or an Indian, or Victory. I mean, what they all have in common, guys, are British bikes, Italian bikes, MV Agusta, BSA and Norton, Vincent. I mean, there's so many bikes, Japanese bikes. Man, I happen to really like Japanese bikes. I like Japanese bikes. They've always kind of appealed to me, and that's just my thing. I like them. I'm not afraid to say it. I like Japanese bikes. And you can say whatever you want to about them, but that's something that probably your dad told you, and that you're just repeating it because, I don't know. I mean, also, I like American-made stuff. I like American bikes, too. Don't get me wrong. If you can afford them, they're awesome. But what they all kind of have in common, guys, there's a couple of things. If it's a little bit different for like the thrill seeker types, but not, I mean, to a different extent, because you can go from the level of just freedom, being on a motorcycle is one of the most incredible. It's like you're balanced and you're out in nature, and it's just you and the world around you. We'll get into the problems with that too, about people not seeing you and how to avoid the best that you can. Why they say loud pipes save lives. It's not just a saying, guys. If a car can hear you, they can probably see you. So that's a lot of times, that's not people trying to be annoying with their motorcycle being too loud. If you can hear it, then you probably try not to run over it if you can hear it. But yeah, there's that freedom. I heard on a podcast where someone was saying, like, those motorcycle riders, they're crazy. Like, can you imagine? One other guy was asking the other one, he's like, I could imagine, like, what would it be like, And another guy was like, imagine just riding on the hood of your car, just like strapped to the hood of your car, just going at 70 miles an hour. And I thought, that's a pretty good description. That's a pretty good description. Just imagine, but not just imagine your car only having two tires instead of 4 and balancing on those. So yeah, man, follow your dreams. You got a special talent. And riding a motorcycle is a little bit like being strapped to the hood of your car, except you're only on 2 wheels and you're not strapped to anything at all. And the other level of that is if you're one of the like thrill seeker types, or if you're a motocross type, then you know that you can experience basically weightlessness. So whenever you hit a jump, you get that one point to where you're just up in the air. And it seems like it lasts a lot longer than it does whenever you can just throw that ass end over a little bit, or a lot in some cases. And it's the freedom, man. It's the freedom of it's just you, and also the danger involved and how fucked up you could be. I think that has a lot to do with the amount of fun that it is and the amount of endorphins that it releases into your brain. Even if you've had a bad day at work, you can come home and you can crank up that fucking Harley and just hear it run for a minute. And you can sit on it, you can just take it around the block. And then some days you might just keep on going. You might keep on going, go on down past that store, go on down to the other store. Just go for a little ride, and whenever you get back, you've kind of reset things, man. It's that freedom of being on the open road, and it's just you and your machine. And speaking of you and your machine, before you do get out there on the open road, there's a couple of things that you just have to know, man. You got to know that the only person responsible for your safety out there is you. Now, you can take your motorcycle to the best mechanic on the planet. That's probably not a bad idea. Use a fucking well-rounded source. And it doesn't hurt sometimes to stand around and watch these sons of bitches work on your shit for a minute or two. Because I can tell you, man, following your dreams. In 2002, Honda came out with a motorcycle called a Honda Shadow Spirit. The Honda Shadow Spirit had different lines of the other Shadows in the past, and it looked more like I don't even want to say it looked like a Harley. I want to say it looked more like a Titan. It looked more like one of the hand-builts. It looked more like an American-made hand-built motorcycle. And so when that bike came out in 2002, I took the Cycle World picture of it out, I cut it out, and I put it on my refrigerator. And do you know, in 2005, I bought that motorcycle, ordered one from Pasadena Honda, and and I paid it off within, like, I don't know, 15 months, 18 months. So yeah, follow your dreams, man. I mean, make a goal of what you want to ride and put it on your fridge, and you'll be riding it before you know it. Now that I've gone way above and beyond that since then. I mean, the bike I ride now is almost 1400 cc's. I think somewhere around in there. It's nasty. But yeah, follow your dreams. You definitely have a special talent. You can experience weightlessness almost. I don't know how else to explain it, man, whenever you hit them jumps. But just talking about hitting them jumps and doing that kind of stuff, you got to learn, man. You got to learn that you've got to put hands on your own motorcycle, okay? And whether that means, okay, you've got to feel to see what your chain feels like with your finger. You got to finger it, all right? You got to feel to see if there's anything loose. You got to get a flashlight, get out in the sunlight, get a flashlight, and you got to look at your whole motorcycle. I can't think of anything else, right off the top of my head, other than preventive maintenance type stuff that would have an access door, a hood, or something like that, that's built for you to actually have to take apart. Your motorcycle is meant to be taken apart, certain pieces of it taken off, so that you could clean underneath it, and so that you can access to get to the spark plugs or to get to the air filter. So let's just say, for example, your fuel tank, your seat, normally your fenders, they're all made to be taken off your motorcycle so that you can clean underneath it and so that you can service the different parts of your motorcycle. So it's never a bad idea to learn how to take your simple things, your gas tank, your seat, your fenders, anything that just look like it have a couple of screws, man, fuck it, take the screws off. Take that shit off. Put it back on. Tighten it back up. Use your best judgment. That's probably what your mechanic does, and he charges you, what is it now? Right at about $100 an hour. I'm not saying that you should do all your own mechanic work, because it takes special tools, and it definitely takes special talent. If you got something going on, electrical performance modifications, keeping things within your factory specification, as far as your warranty and stuff like that goes, then yes, you need the right set of hands to be put on your motorcycle. But what I'm telling you is, you need to be able to put hands on your motorcycle. You need to know enough about it to know if your fucking sprocket is going to fall off between here and getting it to the dealership to get it serviced. Or that if your front fork tube is leaking, that could cause your front end to just wash out. You don't want fluid on your front tire. 5-weight fork oil on your front tire, and then you go up to stop at the red light, and you're going to slide in the front of that fucking Greyhound bus or a down Brinks armored car, and they're going to squash you like a fucking ant. I do not want this to happen to you. So what I'm saying is, you need to know how to access these things, like your fuse panel that could be underneath your seat or your side cover, your battery that's definitely underneath one of your side covers. So you need to learn how to take these things off. Because what happens, you go to the mall to meet your girl one day, you go out there, your battery's dead, you need to get a boost. Well, that's a whole different thing with motorcycles and boosting them with a car. Hook it to your battery, hook it to the car's battery, do not start the car. And really, you probably shouldn't boost your bike. You should probably just charge the battery back up properly, and crank it up that way. But if you do, under the circumstance that you do absolutely have to boost it, do not crank the car. There's going to be way more than enough power in a car battery to just crank your bike real quick, take the fucking cables off, and call it a day. But you definitely need to know how to put hands on your bike, even just to the level, like, do you know that your motorcycle has a toolkit in it in case you're stranded on the side of the road somewhere? There's a toolkit in your bike. It came in your motorcycle. One came in your ATV, one came in your side-by-side. Figure out where that stuff is at. And I have noticed that the from selling cars when I used to sell cars for Ford and for Honda, for Russell and Smith Ford Honda, right there at 3440 South Loop West.